Welcome to this short guide on evaluating information sources. In this presentation, we'll explore why source evaluation matters, how to spot unreliable content, and practical steps you can use every day. The left image of a person studying among books sets the scene. Research requires both curiosity and a careful, methodical approach to finding trustworthy information. We live in an era of unprecedented information access, and that creates both opportunity and risk. Evaluating sources helps you separate useful, reliable material from misleading or low-quality content, and it protects your credibility as a student, researcher, or professional. In short, good source evaluation strengthens your arguments and prevents flawed conclusions that could harm your reputation. Not everything that looks accurate is the whole truth, and that's important to remember. Facts can be presented selectively or stripped of context to support a particular narrative, and a single statistic can be cherry-picked. The magnifying glass image reminds us to look deeper. Poor sources can cascade into weak research, so always check how evidence is framed and sourced. The stakes of source evaluation are high and far-reaching. From health and well-being to news, academic integrity, and everyday decisions, relying on unreliable information can cause real harm. For example, during health crises, false remedies can spread faster than vetted science, demonstrating why each of us needs the skills to evaluate claims before sharing or acting on them. There are 5 key criteria that form a practical framework for evaluation: accuracy, authority, objectivity, currency, and coverage. Together, these dimensions help you judge whether a source is correct, who produced it, whether it's biased, how up-to-date it is, and how complete the coverage is. Mastering these criteria gives you confidence navigating complex information landscapes. When assessing accuracy, look for citations, clear methodology, links to original research, and transparent data practices. Watch out for spelling or factual errors, unsupported claims, broken citations, and internal contradictions. If you can't independently verify a claim, approach it with skepticism. Credible sources make verification straightforward and provide the evidence you need to trust their conclusions. Authority asks who is behind the information and whether they have the right expertise. Check the author's credentials, institutional affiliations, and track record in the field. Institutional backing or peer-reviewed publication usually means stronger vetting, while anonymous or poorly credentialed sources create a credibility gap. Use author information to weigh how much trust to place in the claims presented. Objectivity is about identifying bias and understanding purpose. Ask whether content is meant to inform, persuade, or sell, and examine language, tone, and whether multiple viewpoints are presented. Context matters because bias doesn't always equal falsehood, but it affects what is emphasized or omitted. Remember that even academic work can have bias, so consider how it influences the information's suitability for your purpose. Currency deals with how up-to-date a source is and whether it has been revised or reviewed. Check publication dates, last updated notes, and the relevance of timing to your topic. Currency is critical in fast-changing fields like technology, medicine, law, and statistics, while older sources may still be valid for historical context or foundational theories. Match source age to your research needs. Coverage asks whether the source provides sufficient depth and scope for your question. Look for thorough analysis, multiple perspectives, and references that enable further reading. Beware of superficial treatment, missing key debates, or content written at the wrong level for your needs. Appropriate coverage balances complexity and accessibility so the source supports reliable, well-rounded conclusions. Practical tools make evaluation easier to apply consistently. 3 helpful approaches are the CRAAP test for a quick checklist across key criteria, the SIFT method for evaluating online content step by step, and regular critical reflection to surface your own biases. These strategies translate evaluation principles into routines you can use while researching, reading, or sharing information online. The CRAAP test is a simple checklist covering currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose to help you evaluate sources quickly. Ask when it was published and updated, whether it answers your question at the right level, who authored it, whether evidence is cited, and why it exists. Applying all 5 checks gives you a rounded view of a source's reliability. The SIFT method for online sources gives you 4 practical steps. Stop before trusting or sharing content, investigate the source and author credentials, find better coverage by cross-checking with reputable outlets, and trace claims back to original context and evidence. This approach is designed for fast, digital-first habits that reduce the risk of amplifying inaccurate or misleading information. Critical thinking and reflection are essential parts of evaluation because our own biases shape what we accept. Notice confirmation bias and actively seek perspectives that challenge your views, practice intellectual humility when evidence contradicts your assumptions, and consider multiple interpretations before accepting information. The most reliable researchers question both sources and their own thought processes with equal rigor. To conclude, becoming a savvy information consumer takes practice and intentional habits. Rely on credible sources to empower your research, make evaluation a routine with tools like CRAAP and SIFT, and cultivate a critical eye that protects your work and decisions. Remember the simple mantra: question everything, verify what matters, and always think critically before you share or rely on information.